Cool. We're live. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris here with Tyler, and we're also joined by Thomas DeVries. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming on. All right, can you give everybody a quick background of who you are, what you do, and then we're going to dig into really a point that you brought up on a call with us last week is just a way that you can use technology to reduce some of the headaches when you're actually transitioning crew, whether that's captains, whoever that might be. We're not going to pick on captains today for your sake, but yeah, if you can give us a quick intro, and then we'll dig right into it.
Yeah, my name's Thomas. I have a 200-ton captain's license. I started doing the yachting thing at 18. I'm 32 now. Haven't totally been in the yachting world for the last couple of years. I've transitioned into land-based property management or estate management a little more, but I still plug into the yachting world a little bit. And I've found Vessel Vanguard technology to be really helpful in kind of some side projects, just helping different boat owners that I know with preventative maintenance plans. And that's kind of how I've started using the program.
Awesome. Well, so one of the reason why we jumped on here and we wanted to talk about this is you brought something up when we spoke last week, was just around what it entails to become a new captain on a boat and then try to figure out everything that is going on on the boat.
Yeah.
So can you, just from a perspective of a captain, when you start working on a new boat, whether it's to be the captain, to manage the maintenance, whatever it might be, can you walk us through what it's like from your perspective to show up to that boat and then now try to figure out what's going on with it?
Yeah, you kind of hope that there's some maintenance records and that you can start there with maybe a binder that they had in place, or just some emails that they can send you, whatever you can get when you're taking over a new boat. But with that, you're not just worried about the maintenance that's going on the boat. You're really, first and foremost, starting a relationship with the boat owner, what I call almost a marriage. You're trying to figure out a new marriage when you're becoming a captain of a new yacht. And I guess what I've always thought was, if there were systems in place like a Vessel Vanguard, that if I jumped onto a new boat, I would know so much more. I would have such a better head start if the captain before me had a profile on Vessel Vanguard, was keeping up with the maintenance, and then I can kind of focus on the relationship and the new marriage that I need to create and establish with the boat owner, and not have to worry so much about all the maintenance that needs to happen and be scrambling to figure out, what's been going on in the boat for the last whatever couple years.
Is a lot of that also just understanding what maintenance is required, not only, hey, this needs to be done, but understand the vessel as a whole, especially if it's a new boat to you?
Yeah, there's going to be some kind of standard stuff with how you clean a boat with, but then when it comes down to when was the last oil change done, like that is a really important thing to know. And if you got on a boat where, a captain, maybe it was ended on bad terms, and you got on a boat and you don't have contacts with that past captain, you're going to have to start relying on whatever records the boat owner has, or whoever else they have in contact. But if you had some records with Vessel Vanguard, you'd be able to probably know, hey, it's, they did it a couple months ago, so we're going to be good for another couple hundred hours, maybe another 9 to 12 months, rather than, well, I don't know when the oil change was done. I guess it looks pretty clean, but let's just get it done.
Yeah.
and start up on a fresh slate. And on an 80, 90-foot boat, that's a really costly thing to do because you don't know when the last oil change was.
Got it. So when you get on a boat that size, you're basically going in trying to learn all of these systems as well.
Mhm.
But you're also, because you're the captain, you have that responsibility on you too to know actually where these things stand. Not just how to
Yeah.
use them, but hey, what's the actual status of this now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
got it. What's it like to go try to find that information?
Yeah, it's even beyond the engines. I mean, you got to know when the bottom was painted last and what kind of bottom paint is used. If you don't know what kind of bottom paint is used, if you use the wrong stuff, it's probably not going to adhere to the stuff that's on the boat right now. So you're going to, a few months later, it's just going to start flaking off. And then that $15,000 bottom paint job is all for nothing because you didn't have access to, who was or what kind of bottom paint is on there.
Yeah.
That could be a headache.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler, you're talking to captains all the time who are going through this too. I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah, more so on the marriage that Thomas talked about. There's a sense of transparency between what the captain's doing on board, what needs to be done, the costs associated with that. Having like a software tool to really let them connect virtually and predict appropriately what's coming up has been a useful tool for a lot of these captains. That's a major point that we see on a daily basis around here.
Yeah, I think having everything organized to, that predictive maintenance. I mean, even going out another year is really important. It just it's way more. It's not so reactive. You're preparing for it. You're letting the boat owner know what's coming up, rather than getting to the yard and then having the service provider, the ZF Marine transmission tech tell you, oh, hey, did you know it's really time for you to do this 2,500 hour service? Like, you can look back now, you're at 2,000 hours and say, hey, in about a year, we're going to have another 500 hours on these engines, these transmissions. Like, let's just start getting pricing for this stuff right now. We can compare pricing. We can figure out where the best place is going to be. We can figure out where the boat's going to be. And then really that open line of communication to keep things streamlined will certainly be a big relief, I think, for boat owners, but then the boat crew as well, knowing that they have a tool to kind of back them up, and to tell the owners what they have going. And I think it's just a relief when they have so many other things going on a day-to-day basis with, the cleaning and the movements of the boat. They could be thinking that they're going, to Miami, in a couple days, and then all of a sudden the weather changes. Nope, let's go to Key West instead. So there's so many things and unpredictable things out there, and so keeping this maintenance and these routines as much as you can in place, I think will just help the captain and crew, feel more in control than they would without it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great points.
Well, and so right now, you've worked with both, like using Vessel Vanguard, but also not using it too. What are some of the other ways that people are primarily keeping track of this stuff now? Or how did you used to do it? And then what do you also see other captains doing now?
A lot of it would maybe be done on, Excel. You kind of create a document. And yeah, I guess you could still do that. There's a few primary things that, but it's just obviously not as user friendly. You don't have your manuals in digital format. You're really limited as far as what you can do in a platform like that. But other than that, yeah, I think a lot of it, yeah, unless you're reading the manuals and taking notes of it, it's important to do that. It takes a lot of time, which is something that Vessel Vanguard can do, is, with preloaded maintenance recommendations, pulling those maintenance recommendations from the equipment manufacturers. It's just such a helpful tool. At least it's a huge starting point. Just jumps you off to success, I think.
Do you feel like it could also be used as a tool to sell yourself to a new potential owner or boat that maybe move to a new area? You can offer this as a service, or, hey, I have some technology background.
Yeah, I know that there's some boat owners who require, a certain level of maintenance logging. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've heard of going back for a number of years. So whether that be in Excel or some other way of maintenance tracking, boat owners have required it. So certainly for the boat owners who require their captains to keep really accurate logs, this system, say they're requiring you to do that. These captains now, if they had used this platform and on another boat, they're able to say, hey, this is the maintenance records from my last boat. This is the platform. This is how I organized everything before, and it can be done so easily to communicate that to a potential new boat owner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Thomas, thanks for joining us on this one.
Yeah.
I know that this is going to be one of a few. I just wanted to dive into some of these specifics, but thank you for sharing this stuff, because I was intrigued when we talked about it last week, and I wanted to get the message out there. But before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to touch on?
No, I think for captains, like I really hope that people would, or these captains or crew would view something like this not as a burden, but more so as a tool, to be able to set themselves up for success. To like I said, the boating, yachting world is so unpredictable. I think there's a way to at least set the groundwork and have a good foundation that is organized through a system with software like Vessel Vanguard.
Thanks, man. Well, we'll keep working together. I know that as we build out this new system too, we're going to be taking your feedback and using that to make it better. So, yeah, man, it's been cool working
looking
with
forward
you
to it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, Tyler, you got anything else?
Nope. I appreciate the insight, though, as always, and look forward to the next one we're going to do here.
All right.
Cool. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.